Hello and welcome back to the Gamescast for part 2 of our ILS video. Yep. This is the part where we should go through the actual procedures of how to use ILS, or Hamish will teach me anyway.
And how to use this plane.
Which or
mainly to teach you guys, not
mostly know.
Yeah, Reith knows about 90% of what I'm going to tell him. He doesn't necessarily know the order, which is what I've been trying to fine tune myself, because I was teaching him the wrong order to start. I was teaching him the Cessna order of starting it. This is a little bit different because there's a few more electronic bits and pieces.
Right, okay. So what do we do then, Hamish?
So for starters, you will notice the windows are open.
Should we start by closing the windows?
Yes, so we're going to close the windows.
Okay, closing windows.
You should always, I say you should always, it's completely optional whether you leave the windows open or closed, but it does help when parking to leave them open so the plane doesn't fog up and stuff inside.
When parking?
When parked, yes.
Right, okay.
So it's probably not going to make much difference today because it's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day. Okay. Yeah.
Precisely. So there's kind of two parts to this. There's a checklist part, or the systems part, then the engine part, and then the engine part.
Right.
Like starting up the engines. Okay. Now, the first bit is actually on the co-pilot side. Ooh. And we're going to put the bleed air valves open. So if you go to the co-pilot side, where the environmental section is, Reith.
I do know where the environmental section is because we've been through this before. Yeah.
So there's two things. They're both closed at the moment. If you open both of them.
Where it says bleed air valves?
Yes, precisely.
Okay, opening, bleeding
now,
air
bleeding
valves.
The air valves, what it does, it kind of opens up the air valves in the plane to kind of give it more air. If you were to leave them closed, the plane would start, but probably about mid-flight you'll probably notice that you die.
Fair enough.
So,
well, like carbon dioxide poisoning or something.
Well, yes.
Or the engine stop. Is this to do with the engines or air inside the cabin itself?
Yeah, so what we're going to do now, we're going to close the firewall. The firewall thing...
these red cap
These red things here. So if you close both of those, you'll notice those, well, you won't really see it, but those other two bits...
So if I flick the switches?
No, not the switches, the actual red caps.
Oh, the red caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and they will close those. When I'm not entirely sure why we open them and close them, but apparently it just kind of helps the airplane with maintaining the the parked state of the aircraft, basically. In other words, it just helps it last longer, which is why we actually close those, and then of course we open them as we close those things. So if we were to do that, you'll notice that they're now open. We can still turn them off and on, but as we do that, they're actually closed. Open even. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Hang on, so if I open the cap and flick the switch...
And then close it, the way the cap's designed is actually
oh, I see. So I could flick the switch... Oh, whoops. I can flick the switch so it's closed, flick the cap, open the cap, and it's open again. So I can flick the switch, close it.
And you'll notice that's actually how the cap's designed. You'll notice it's got a distinct curve at the bottom.
Yeah, so... Yeah. The cap is designed so that when you close the cap, it opens the valve, or closes the valve, or whatever it is.
Yeah. So that's pretty much that.
I don't know what does that switch do? Firewall shut off valve.
I'm not entirely sure. The firewall, to me, suggests that it turns off the smoke detectors or the fire aspects of the plane, shutting off engines automatically and that sort of stuff, because if it's very hot and it's the plane standing out there, the chances is that it will think there's a fire.
Fair enough.
So that's why we have those open. So when we open them, it means that they're active. It means we're in the plane, obviously.
Right, okay.
Now, the next bit, we're going to go to the master switch where the battery and generators is. You can probably see me flicking it.
Master, where it says master switch. Ooh,
now, that isn't actually a switch. The master switch is actually a master
It just covers the...
But it covers the master controls.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn on the battery and both generators.
So battery, generator 1, and
generator
2.
The next bit
I just realised all the lights came on and stuff.
Have they?
Yeah, if you look at the dials now are lit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. Yes.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a little warning up there that are flashing.
The actual... hang on, let me just check that. They are exactly. Oh, right, yes. Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought
Hamish was just
none of the
checking
electronic items are on.
Oh, no, that's not.
Okay, so yeah, you'll notice that the next bit is the boost pump. Now, I told you that the boost pump was basically a reserve thing. Oh no,
I probably wasn't paying much
I didn't.
attention to you, to be honest.
No, I'm doing it in the wrong order. We turn on the boost pump, which is by the fuel.
Right, and
the left-hand side by the fuel. We turn on the boost pump.
Which one? There's one on both sides.
The left-hand side one.
Left-hand side?
Yes.
And why?
Oh no, not that one, Reith. The one underneath that.
This one?
Yes.
Here. Oh, I can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it. And now we're going to turn on the right-hand one.
Like that.
That's one for each fuel tank, by the way.
Okay, yeah, because there's two engines on this.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the boost pump pumps fuel around the plane, basically.
It's like the fuel pump on the Cessna.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly the same thing. Now we're going to test this thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What does that do?
That is the FQT is what I called it. It's the fuel quantity total. Now, when you have it like in that state, it means you have all your fuel. Now, I told you that was a reserve tank.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually the case. It's actually to check that the fuel's working. So if you flick the switch, we'll let it go down to 4. You know that it's moving and it's a working piece of the plane. It's a test. Now flick it back up to normal. Okay?
Oh right, so you're basically turning off what measures how much fuel there is.
Yes.
Just to check that it's working. So that you don't take off and then find out that your fuel gauge doesn't work and you've actually got no fuel in the plane.
Yes.
Okay.
So the next bit, we're going to go over to the lights section, which is just to the right of the landing gear. It's that bit. We're going to turn on the beacon lights.
Okay, let's have a look at this then.
It's just by the strobe.
So beacon light.
Now that tells the air traffic control that we're in the plane, we're active, and we're going to start the engines fairly soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now the engines,
just like in the Cessna, that had beacon lights as well.
Precisely. We're going to switch on the avionics master switch. It's on the left-hand side, just above the master switch.
My lord.
Avionics master power.
Ah, this thing here.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll notice now, if you look up the electronics. The
electronic gizmos have started.
Yeah.
So we've got our course. Pardon me. The course indicator.
Yeah.
In an electronic version of that, and a like tilt thingamabob. Obviously, we're not actually at that angle, but the plane's not on yet, so it doesn't know.
Now, the next bit is quite is a little bit more high speed.
High speed.
Yes, because you're going to do this fairly quickly. So, it's starting the engines. Now, we're going to start the right engine first. It's something I've just been told to do. You always start the right side engine. I don't know why. It's just something.
Fair enough.
I don't know why. You probably noticed that we actually work from right to left. From the start, we were on the co-pilot side. When we sort of did the pumps and stuff, it kind of right to left.
We did the left one first and then the right one. But
but you kind of get the point.
Okay. You work your way across.
You kind of work your way across the plane.
Across the cabin.
Sort of.
I'm not sure that's quite technically true, but carry on.
Because then we did the generators, then we did the fuel pumps. So we went...
And then we went back to the right, and now we're back in the middle, which is back to the left. So
precisely.
Anyway. Well, for precisely. I was
anyway.
trying to disprove your point. You're just agreeing with it.
Anyway, so
like
there's a switch called the ignition and engine start on the bottom left-hand side by the parking brake. You'll notice if I turn off the parking brake and turn on.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So that little thing there. Now we turn on the right thingy one, not yet.
Ignition and engine start. Right.
So we turn on the right one, then we let our N1, which is the thing where it says 0.0 of a turbine RPM.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
The turbine RPM. It's just to the left of your. It's to the left of your nav and your of your nav one.
Nav 1 is there, so...
It says 0.0.
Yes.
So, if you flick for engine start...
I flick the engine start?
On the right.
On the right.
It should. We let it get to 12.
My engine RPM is increasing.
We let our N1 get to 12, which is what we refer to that dial as. Which it should do.
N1?
Yeah. Don't ask me what it
Why
stands
is it
for.
called N1?
I don't know. There's also something in commercial jets.
It's almost got
N1.
it's 12.
It's 12.
Okay.
Now, what we do at this point, we put our fuel cutoff, which is like our fuel mixture, on low idle, which is, you can see where it is. Let me just do this one here. It's that one there. Okay.
Oh,
here we go.
Noise.
Now,
So
if
that's-
you go
so
back up
this-
to your RPM,
so this thing
turbine
here-
thing, you'll notice it gets to 1,000 degrees, and then it starts to go down again.
1,000 degrees.
Yeah, and then it goes back down to 500. It was very quick. You probably didn't see it.
Oh, hold on. Is that temperature
Yes.
or torque? It says torque on there. So are you sure it's 1,000 degrees?
Torque. Yeah. Sorry.
What were we
Degrees.
talking
What was I
about here?
talking about? I
I
apologise.
don't know what you're talking about.
It's talking about your torque, and but it
Right.
got up to 1,000. Now it's at 300.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we put it onto high idle.
Right. And is that
So we
the
fully
fuel-
put that forwards, and then you'll notice the torque dramatically decreases, or will do as soon as we stabilised it.
will
And
start
then we
to
turn
decrease.
off the right ignition, which I'll do
Turn on.
like that.
Ah,
Off.
yeah, because the ignition's only needed during the first start. And now I can hear it going,
Yep, and you'll be able to see it as well.
and we can. I mean, I don't know if you can see it because it's just a blur, but the right engine is clearly on, and the left engine is stationary.
At this point, we can also put the feather lever, which is a bit in the middle.
And
to
what
full
does feather
high
do,
RPM.
Hamish?
Feather controls how much power goes into the plane.
Goes into that engine.
It goes into that engine, yes.
Right. Okay.
Now, I want you to do what I did, but on the left-hand side, if you can remember.
Okay. So we switch the left ignition on
Yep.
instead of the right.
We let it stabilise to 12.
So we. Oh yeah. Let it stabilise to 12.
So now you can start heading over to
turbine RPM to be 12.
the fuel cutoff.
By the fuel cut-off, is that the mixture?
Yes.
And so the mixture is exactly the same as in like the
Cessna, basically,
in
just
like the
there's
Cessna,
two of them.
except it's one for each engine.
Put it onto low idle, which
So
is
put it onto
where you are now.
low idle, which is there,
You'll notice it goes up to about 1,000 torque.
and then it goes still going up.
So go, and then it will decrease again.
Why does it go up to 1,000 torque and then decrease?
It's just, I don't know, it's obviously how the engine works, so I can't tell you. Then put it on high idle, or high idle, just put it on, yeah, it is called high idle.
Yeah.
Okay, then you can put the feather lever up, which is your prop.
Increasing feather lever,
Yeah, brilliant. And then you can turn off that ignition.
and then I can turn off left ignition.
Now,
Now, if I check, because I can't
put the throttle up a
actually-
little bit, then bring it back down.
So that is, put it up a little bit and then bring it down. Oh, there we go.
A
Yeah.
very different tone of torque. Tone.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because it was in reverse.
Oh, that's the sound of reverse thrust.
Yes, that is.
Right.
And then it goes, and you'll see the torque's decrease dramatically. It's about 100 less than it was.
Yeah, it's now at 2,
And it's
just
still
under
decreasing.
260. Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So that is how we start up. Now this is full and ready to take off.
Well, not quite. Let's put our yokes back in.
Oh yes.
There we
Now, we've actually got flight sim commander up.
go. I haven't actually.
Oh, haven't you? Oh, well,
Uh,
okay, that's fine.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter. You can take me through it. I'll leave flight
So-
commander off.
What we're going to do, we're going to use a heading first of all, I think. Unless I
Okay.
can find a VOR close by. In fact, I've got a VOR here, which is Midhurst. So we're going to tune in 114.00.
Okay.
to
So
our
these
VOR.
navs work exactly the same as they do in the Cessna. What was it?
14.00.
114.00. So
Which is
set that to
Midhurst.
active.
Yep.
And then you can see the DME, which is this thing over here, of which, just like in the Cessna, it says it's 18.4 nautical miles
Then
away.
we just simply set the course to correspond. So if you want to set the course,
Okay, I'm not sure where Midhurst is, somewhere.
you don't even need to know the heading, but you know that's correct because the line is lined up.
Okay, so
Okay.
the heading is also around there. I like to line the heading up with the course, just in case
Just in case.
if the course doesn't work for whatever reason, I can switch it to heading instead of nav mode, and it will follow
Yes.
the heading, which should be roughly in the same direction.
Precisely. You've got a couple of different things. If we look at our knots, you'll see there's a striped red and white line.
You mean indicated airspeed?
Yes, indicated airspeed. It also says knots on it there.
Yeah.
That's actually overspeed. I mean, for the moment, we're not actually going overspeed.
So the red and white stripy line.
Yeah.
If you go over, what is it, 220 knots?
At the moment, yeah, but it changes as you go up and down in the air.
Right, okay, got it. I see, so that's why it's a pointer rather than just a stripe on them.
Yes, exactly. So it changes.
I always wondered that because I thought it was just stationary.
So it's all depending on the wind. We're actually very lucky today. We have no wind at all, which is rather astonishing.
It's probably because I got weather. I haven't actually got weather on.
Have you not got it on?
Because obviously it's night time outside as we record
course.
this, and I didn't want to record it in the night.
Although we have done a night flight.
It's just
So
the lighting on this.
me and Reith will be doing airport-to-airport flights as well, because this is actually technically the first airport-to-airport flight. It's an ILS flight. Well, I say ILS flight. It's not called.
When you
an
say
ILS
airport
flight.
to airport, you mean we take off from
One airport and land at another. We have done it offline, but we haven't done it.
because we've always taken off at Shoreham and landed at Shoreham again.
Precisely. So what we can do, we can take off at Shoreham and land at Gatwick, take off from Gatwick and land at Manchester, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, the plane is now ready to go. You'll notice just by a quick glance, it's 18.4 nautical miles away. Then we're going to make a heading. Then we're going to sort of make a 90-degree heading to our east, and that's going to put us on to Gatwick. Now, I
was
to
just
tell you
wondering
now
if we should check our ATIS to check our barometers set correctly.
Yes, it is. I did actually hit B, and it actually sets it
Right.
for me.
Never mind.
We're not going to use ATIS. Of course, normally we would use ATIS.
But
as
we
well.
can't be bothered.
Yes, precisely.
Okay, fair enough. Carry on.
Now, I don't want you to change your course anymore. That's all we're going to do with the course. Don't touch it again. Not even until we're landing.
Right.
So this is going to be quite strange, because you've always known when flying VOR, ILS type points, you always change your course. We're not going to now. We've set the course.
Okay.
Okay?
Fine.
We're not even going to change our heading, because this is the beauty of ILS. It is a fantastic autopilot system.
It does it all itself.
Precisely. It
Don't
is
even need to
really,
set a course
really
or
good.
anything.
So we're now going to set another sort of what's it called? VOR point, or nav point, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And we are going to set it for Gatwick.
So this is going to be our standby one, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so we'll switch this to active after we get to Midhurst.
No, we're going to do it now. It's going to put 10.9. Oh, we're not going to put it active, but we are going
but
to.
when are we going to put active?
We're going to put it after we get to Midhurst.
Right, okay.
So if you put 10.9,
yeah.
Now let's just activate that. Hopefully it should come up. There we go.
18.9.
18.9.
How much further away is that than?
Not very
Midhurst?
far, as you can see.
18.4.
It's
So
a
that
matter of
is
about
less than nautical miles.
Yeah, it's just Midhurst is going to get us nicely lined up with the ILS.
Okay, fair enough. And Midhurst is actually one of the points we can actually see.
Yes, we can see. We should be able to see it on our ILS. You're right.
I think we did somewhere. Can't remember. Where
Midhurst. You can see it on the far left of the point. You can actually see Midhurst.
Far left.
On the far left, it's kind of centre far left.
Oh yes, I see that.
Yeah, you can actually see it.
Yeah.
So you can see it's a really useful point.
Yeah. Okay,
So I actually got that off Flight Sim Commander, but just looking at the ILS, you can also get it off that. So well done for remembering that. Hopefully the ILS now ILS charts, if you watch that video, becomes a little bit more makes a bit more sense now we're actually here. So we're now ready to take off, which is what we are going to do. I'm going to set our altitude to 3,000 3,000 feet.
Yeah, and the altitude is this dial here, correct?
Yes.
So should I set that to 3,000?
3,000.
3,800?
No, just 3,000. It's fine.
Just 3,000. Okay.
Now, legally, we wouldn't actually be able to do this. We'd have to fly up to 4,000, then back down. But that's when we start getting into airspace, which will be in the future.
Yeah, because we don't actually have an air traffic control on land.
No, exactly.
So it doesn't really.
Now, you would have noticed that when we were doing our flights and stuff, occasionally it actually reset the altitude. Altitude. Now that is because we actually clicked altitude, not altitude select. The difference being is that altitudes. When you click altitude, it means hold your altitude.
Oh, I see.
Altitude select is actually...
Okay. Yeah, when Hamish, we've done a few flights in this off camera, and every so often I've said, Hamish, what are you doing? We've just taken off, and our altitude, you idiot, you've set our altitude like 2 meters off the ground.
Precisely, that's because, you know.
And it hasn't been Hamish, it's probably been me on the autopilot.
So that is why that's been happening. So it's, if I'm honest, I don't really know why you have an altitude hold. It's just a bit annoying.
I guess if you're at a specific altitude and you
need to hold something, yeah, I'm sure you're correct. If ATC say hold your altitude, you just press a button. But yes. Anyway, we're now ready to take off, Reith. So if you want to start with taxiing,
okay.
I'm going to put the flaps up to our takeoff, which also happens to be approach. Reith, I'm sure you know. I think you know where the flaps bit is. So if you want to show viewers that or whatever.
Flaps. You can see this button down here. It says hold on. This button down here. It says flaps, and I can put it up. I can put it to approach, which we're going to use for takeoff. And then you've got down, which is for landing. Oh shit! It's good to have a co-pilot.
Yes, it is. So you're gonna make a right.
Oh my god!
Right and then a left.
Sorry,
you're using the diff brakes. Interesting.
My driving skills is. What I've noticed about this is that idle is actually a good taxiing speed. In like the Cessna, idle you wouldn't even get moving on the grass.
Yes, this has got a lot more torque.
It's got a lot more power and torque and stuff because it's got 2 engines and they're much bigger engines as well.
Now takeoff speed today, Reith. Now I'm going to be a bit naughty here and just take the fuel down a load. So you may notice quite a dramatic difference. We're going to have 10% fuel in each thing, and takeoff speed is going to be about 90 knots.
90 knots. Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah, well, I just saw the needles on the fuel dial
down
to my left just go down to like nothing.
Yeah, precisely.
10%.
We've actually got 38 gallons or 253
goodness,
pounds.
This is a quick taxi, Hamish.
Yeah, now you've got to be careful on taxiing. We are really way over speed.
We're shifting right now. We should take off in a minute. Yeah, okay, I shall
begin to reduce.
Put the brakes on.
Right, we've got no traffic, so we can now go
onto the runway. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Going onto the runway.
We're actually in beta at the moment for FSX, so if there are any issues or graphical issues, it's probably because we're in the beta at the moment.
Right. Okay. Oops. That certainly stopped a bit sideways.
Beta of the new version. This is, of course.
Yeah. So by the time this video goes out, it's probably
out of beta. It will only be in beta for 7 days.
7 days, and we are recording during that 7 days. Right, are we
We're
good?
recording the first day of beta, actually. Right, so about 85 knots is our rotation speed. Now, Reith, you possibly can remember this from the few charts we looked at.
Yeah,
about
this particular plane. It comes with like a few
documentation
and stuff, and it says at this weight, which Hamish apparently is just taking it down to because he took the fuel out of the plane as we were taxiing, dumped it all over the runway. Hazardous, very bad. So now it's light enough that we can take off at 90 knots rather than like 100 and something that we would have had to do.
Yes.
Plus it's a very short flight, so it doesn't really
matter. No, exactly. So I'll be in control of the autopilot. If you want to be in control of the throttle, unless you want to do it the other way around.
No, you can be in control of the autopilot for the moment, and we can quickly explain, I guess.
So,
are we ready?
I'm ready when you are, Reith. So, ready?
So I am throttling up to half, get moving, and then I'm throttling up all the way. Okay, this should be a nice, smooth takeoff, I hope. So, where is 19? Oh, here we go.
So, we're at 80 knots
80
now.
knots.
So rotate whenever you feel ready.
And I'm rotating now. Okay.
Okay, we should be in the air now.
So since you are doing autopilot, if you would like to click our altitude and our
autopilot
nav as well, which will set us onto a course to go to Midhurst.
Yeah.
I haven't actually shown the autopilot off in this plane yet, so we'll find out.
Then nav as well is on. Hopefully,
okay, so if I take my hands off the stick.
Now there's a bit of a bug with the autopilot. I have to actually, to use altitude select, I actually have to open up the window. So, and I'm not entirely sure why. there's a third-party window, if you like, Reith. If you go to the autopilot bit and you click where it says plus 1000, you have to click that to get it to work. I'm not sure if other people have had the same issues.
Plus 1000.
It actually opens up another window.
For me, right. Oh my goodness, it does as well.
And that's like, I don't know why.
Oh, Hamish,
that's fine. It's telling us that
we've got
1,000 feet to
away
go
from getting to our altitude. Is that correct?
So we're going to get there pretty quickly.
Okay, so how do I get rid of X? There we go. Okay, so this is the autopilot. So very similar to the Cessna one. You've got the AP on or off, AP engage down here.
You should hear another bizz in a minute, I hope.
You've got the heading button, which we've got switched on, which we haven't got switched on. We've got the nav switched on, which we've been through in previous videos. And we've also got altitude select, which is the same as the altitude button in the Cessna.
Precisely.
So the other controls I don't actually know, but I'm sure we'll go through them later today.
Yes, we will. Today we're going to be using the approach button.
Approach, okay. So
and that will be good for our ILS.
Which button is that?
That is approach. It looks as approach.
APPR.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So that is the ILS button. In other planes, it actually is always called approach. Actually, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. So rather than your VOR localizer, which you get in a lot of the Boeings and stuff, which of course we go on to, it says approach instead. And it's just a button you press. So we're actually pretty close to Midhurst already.
Indeed.
We are, what are we?
It says
14
here
knots.
14, yeah. So
it's going to take us 5 minutes.
13.8. This also different from the Cessna we were flying. It also on the DME. It also gives you an estimate on your minutes it's going to take you to get there. So it says here 0.5 minutes. It's going to take us to get to Midhurst.
Yeah. Also, Reith, I found actually for landing this plane at 100 knots is the speed what we're going to be trying to land at.
Right, okay.
About 50 to 60% is a pretty good place to start.
Should we raise the flaps? Actually?
We're not going to.
Oh, I just did.
Oh, you can do. I'm actually going to lower them straight away because we actually don't need to.
Oh, okay.
Because it's such a short flight. So.
Yeah, we're going to. Did we say we're going to Gatwick in this?
Gatwick, yeah.
Yeah, Gatwick. Okay. So we're going to go to Midhurst and then go on to the ILS for Gatwick, correct?
Precisely.
Okay.
So I'm going to teach you or talk to you very briefly for a couple of minutes. What we're going to do. We're going to change the frequency to 10.90 when we reach Midhurst.
Okay, which is the one we put into standby, correct? Yeah.
And then we're going to click approach. It'll automatically take off nav and put us into approach mode.
Right, okay.
And then it'll line us up, and then we do nothing. We let the plane land.
And the plane will land itself?
Yes.
Will it do flaps and stuff?
Well, no.
So
we have to do that.
We have to do flaps.
But it'll do everything else.
Okay.
Just a couple of things, Reith, I want to tell you for you to keep an eye on. If you look at the digital display on your side.
The digital. Oh, right, yes.
Yeah. Now you'll notice there's a little green dot.
Green dot. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Now that little green dot means that we're on course for Midhurst and we're actually lined up exactly with Midhurst.
So the little green dot is Midhurst?
Yeah. You'll get another green dot on the side, and that will be your glide slope, and you'll see it when we. You know what the glide slope is because we talked about it in the last video.
The glide slope for you guys that neglected to watch the last video, which you totally should do, is the sort of gradient. So how quickly you go down.
Yes.
Into the
gives you information
runway.
on the angle, what altitude you should be. Now you will notice that we will follow these altitudes as we come into Gatwick.
Gatwick,
yeah.
Gatwick. I always used to, and Hamish still does apparently, call it Gatwick, G-A-P-wick. But it actually turns out it's Gatwick. If you actually see it written down, it's G-A-T-wick.
Now because we have had to use a slightly lower res textures, you'll notice that Gatwick looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit green. I'm not sure if that's true to real life, maybe it is, but because UK 2000 provides such high detail scenery, it actually looks a little bit strange. coming into land. Oh, I don't know. You haven't got UK in 2000. Still for Gatwick, have you?
Nope.
Oh.
So it's just you, Hamish. You have to suffer.
Crumbs. I actually hope that it. Hopefully it lands the same, because we're using different scenery. Right.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
We'll find out.
So we're coming up to Midhurst. Any minute now.
How far away? We're 4.2 nautical miles.
About 1 nautical mile, we're going to start the approach. So, you know the drill, Reith. We're going to flick 10.9 to active, from standby to active, then we're going to click the approach on the auto.
And when are we doing that? Sorry?
As soon as we sort of get about 1 nautical mile away from Midhurst.
Okay, so all I have to do
about
is
1.5, yeah, about 1.5 from Midhurst.
So, Hamish, am I right in saying that once we put it onto ILS and we're happy with it, what it's doing, I could just like go and sit in one of those seats and watch out the window at the back?
Providing you're going for the right speed, yes. Because you need to control your speed.
Oh, right, okay. So it's probably best if I don't do that. Right?
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
But yes, you could. I actually landed in my FSX video I did ages ago, which was a master plan. Hang on, I'll tell you just in 1 second.
Why?
Because we're coming up to 1.5.
Yes.
We're at 1.5. So if you click...
so I'll switch this over to active.
And then if you click the autopilot...
Autopilot...
approach
button on the autopilot. Yeah. Approach. There we go.
Right, there you go. Now, you'll notice this plane hopefully will start to turn.
I hope so. Otherwise... Oh, I see the little green dots moved. So is that Gatwick's ILS?
Yes, it is.
For runway...
Also notice there's one on the right as well now. On the vertical, there's a vertical one.
There's a vertical one. Oh yes, I see. Yes, there are 2 little green dots. So there's one in the sky at the moment, and one. Oh yeah, and we're turning as well. I think we're turning right. I believe we are indeed. Oh, and is that Gatwick up ahead, Hamish? Do I see?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And obviously, I haven't got flights and commander.
Now I'm really sorry, guys. I said you didn't have to do anything with the course. You do have to do something with the course. You have to put it in a rough direction.
And what rough direction is this?
Roughly east-ish.
Roughly east.
About 60 degrees.
And why is it that we're doing that, Hamish?
It's just to line us up.
Line us up with.
It's just to line us up with the runway and stuff. It's just so it knows roughly where to go, because you'll see now that actually it kind of not really, it's still turning, and we're not actually on the course we set. If that makes sense.
Not really.
I said it on 60 degree on east, but we're actually kind of not. We're not actually on the course which I set in. What I put in.
Is that Gatwick up ahead of us?
Yes.
What, right in front of us?
Yes.
Are we going round it?
No, we're going to land. Oh, I don't know.
What, from this side? It looks awful close, Hamish.
No. I hope it's some scenery thing. Oh no, that's not Gatwick. No,
I was going to say it looks awful close. What runway is that, Hamish?
That is Dunsfold. Oh, that's a Top Gear test track.
Oh.
That's a Top Gear test track.
You see, it doesn't look much like the Top Gear test track from where I'm looking. But I guess, yeah, I do know it is actually an airfield, so there you go. Top Gear, RAP.
Right, we've reduced the speed, we're going 200 knots.
Oh, yes.
It's about half, actually.
I shall reduce sped. Yeah, so I can see it there that we were going a little quick. We almost went over that little white and red crossed line.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do we do?
We do nothing now.
Nothing at all.
So, you can probably see Gatwick ahead of us now.
Yes, I can.
Now,
just about.
Just watch that little green line, that little green dot on the right hand side. Now, just watch it as it. Now, as that comes down, you'll see that actually we hit the glide slope. You'll see that we. You see that we go down with the green dots. Now we're beneath the glide slope, which is good. You always want to be beneath the glide slope, not on top of. It's much better.
So hang on, I'm just wondering about the course thing. I didn't really get that explained properly.
You need to put the course in the rough direction of the airport, just so it knows
the airport or the runway.
Runway of where it is roughly. You'll notice. Well, you won't see, but we're actually perfectly lined up. But I mean, I've literally set a rough direction. It's not. It's probably about 10 or 20 degrees out.
Yeah.
Now you'll notice now we're starting to go down, and you can see by your verticals. You can see by your vertical speed on your side, Reith, that we're going down by what? 500 feet a minute.
We're going down. Yeah, 500 feet a minute.
Now we want to land at 100 knots roughly. So I'm going to put the flaps up.
I'm going to put the landing gear down because as you put the flaps up, it did actually tell me to do that. There we go. So I've got landing gear going down.
Okay,
It's
right.
giving you a
Reduce our
warning
speed even more.
Well, are we going too fast? For
Yeah, we're going 130. We want to be landing at about 100 knots.
Okay.
I'll tell you what speeds we're going at all times. So we're going about 130. You can put about, if I come over, Reith, if you put your speed, Reith, about there, that's perfect.
Yeah,
actually. It's about 50-60%.
So I'm passing the blue line on the speedometer, which I've been told by Hamish is the minimum speed you can go if you've got one engine cut off. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So if one of your engines isn't working,
and remaining stable flight, that is.
Yeah. And you're in stable flight.
Then 80 is with 2.
Yeah. So if you've got 2 engines, which we have at the moment, we can't go.
Or
any lower
relatively
than 80.
stable flight, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be pretty difficult. You won't be able to.
So this should just land perfectly.
Oh, I hope.
We hope. Okay. So that's the runway ahead of us. We haven't turned the steer. I haven't even touched my joystick. Hamish hasn't really been touching his yoke at all. And this is all being done by Autopilot. So we've at least lined up with the runway perfectly.
Yeah.
Without touching anything.
Yes,
Just
precisely.
putting in the frequency for Gatwick's ILS and setting the course to roughly the direction we know the airport's in.
Yes.
And that's it. It's done everything else for us.
Yeah, we're currently going 91 knots. Give it full power, Reith, before we fall out of the sky.
Full power. Okay.
Okay, now put it down to about half where you get the click. You know the click?
Yeah, I know the click. When Hamish says the click, he's talking. My joystick specifically actually has a sort of click in it where the half is. We've actually gone up a bit and
put full power, full power, full power.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, we are about to like fall.
And just try and control it a little bit, Reith. Okay, that's better. Now slowly, I can use a little bit of trim if we need to try and keep us stable. Are you still on full power?
No.
No, okay.
I'm like 80%. Just gonna.
Ooh, no! I don't know what's happened there.
Are you controlling
right?
This, Hamish?
That's good.
Because it's wobbling.
Okay.
Around
Put it about right. Put it about half-ish. We're going 120 now.
Okay. Okay, I'm at half power. Okay, so we are coming down.
At 120, 115.
Oh my lord, what was that?
I don't know what's happening. I'm not sure.
Don't know what that was.
So obviously just a bit. Oh, we have actually got wind actually.
That was wind.
Six knots of wind. Yeah, just a bit of odd turbulence. I'm not sure what that was.
Very
inconsistency.
I suspect
104 knots. Perfect. Keep this. Keep this. Keep this. Happening again. I don't know why this is.
Blimey, we've got a bit of buffeting.
We have got a little bit of a turbulence. This is very strange.
Very large crosswind we've got here, Hamish.
Now, I don't want you to pull back or anything. We're going to let the plane land. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to pull back the throttle.
Yeah, so we control the throttle and literally nothing else.
Yes. 109 knots. Bring it back just a touch more. A tiny amount I'm talking about, because remember we're still going to straighten out. And you can go to your computer, check that the scenery's relatively similar.
It looks the same to me.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I don't know what yours actually.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So going 106 knots. Keep this a tiny bit more. No, that's good actually. Tiny bit more power actually. I almost had I saw birds.
My word. This is very trusting.
Now, about when we get to about, I don't know, a few hundred meters before they had to run away, a little bit more power.
A little bit more.
Yeah. And off completely.
Idle. There we go.
Yeah. Now, relax.
It's gonna land. I can't.
You probably can't even feel the landing.
No, I think we're still going down. Oh, that was a landing. I think.
Reverse thrust. We're not going to use the brakes.
I don't know how to use reverse thrust.
Yeah, you can actually press and
because Hamish on his flight yoke does that because he's got like a switch to do it. But I've never actually said
just jam the throttle forwards just to get me out of reverse.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, so
that's it.
We're now taxiing. Where do we want to taxi to? I'm going to come off the runway here actually.
Left here,
yeah.
if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Now we're actually just going to park up wherever. Now I'm actually going to go into your computer because you've got a completely different scenery to me. Just park up at those little bays. Oops, those bays there.
Okay. So where that commercial jet is.
Yeah.
I think I should slow down a bit. Going a little bit on the quick side for the taxi.
You just need to learn to slow down. I know taxiing can be boring and stuff, but you know.
Fair enough. Just going to line up over here. I think I'm just going to put it nearer bay, or do you think? What do you think?
That's about there's kind of good, really. Anywhere really. Actually, this could be UK 2000.
Okay, so I think just about here.
Yeah, I mean we're nowhere near any real taxi place, but yeah,
it's good enough.
That's good.
Okay, I'm going to put the parking brake on.
Now to turn it off, we do the same procedure as turning on.
There we go.
Now, with the engines, we just pull back both fuel mixtures and we bring back the feather levers.
Okay, there we go.
I'll leave it.
So now you can hear the engines turning down. In a minute we'll be able to see them turning down. Already see them. I'm not sure how the quality of the video you'll be able to see this, but yeah, it'll be able to. You can hear.
Have you got an EasyJet plane move to your left, sort of?
EasyJet to my left. No.
No. Oh, okay.
I haven't. No. We've got our flaps down there.
That's good.
Pull them up a bit. Okay. See that?
Awesome. Right.
Cool.
So for startup, we do exactly the same as we did for stopping.
Okay.
For turning off a plane, we do exactly the same as we did for turning on the plane. In no major particular order. So we take off the avionics.
Okay, turning off avionics.
Turn off generators and batteries and beacon lights.
There we go.
Open up the firewall or close them even. So those two little red switches.
Like that?
Yeah, and the other one I think is that need closing. Yeah, and then turn off the boost pump left and right.
Boost pump. Were we meant to leave them on?
Yeah.
Or should we have turned them off?
No, it's fine. We can.
Because I remember the fuel pump we only turned on at the beginning on the Cessna.
You know, you're probably right. You probably should have turned those off.
Fair.
Luckily, it was such a short flight that it made absolutely no difference.
But if we had left them on for a long flight, we could have flooded the engine or something.
Yes, we could have.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's it. It's really easy to turn off. So now it's just ready to be turned on again. Really.
If you open the
over the windows,
back door.
Windows.
I'm walking down the galley. Open the back door, sir. Oh, whoops! I'm facing the wrong way. There we go. I shall now. Oh, if I get my buttons right, it will actually look proper. And boom, 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 boom. Da-da! And then I can switch views. Like so, maybe. Oh god. There we go. You see? And now we get to look at this marvellous plane. So yeah, there we go. So that's ILS landings, everybody.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So even with a bit of turbulence that we saw at R1, at our landing here, a bit like our my first landing actually, that we recorded. It was very there was a lot of crosswinds then. There were a lot of crosswinds on my first ILS landing as well.
Yeah, precisely.
So that's but it still managed to land it perfectly fine. All we had to do was turn down the throttle at the right point.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. It's really easy. It was it was a pretty good landing as well. You'll notice. I mean, you would have noticed how smooth it was. I was surprised how much turbulence we actually had.
Yeah.
That's really strange actually.
Yeah.
But
I think it was a mix of turbulence and then lag, because it was almost.
Possibly,
it wasn't just a sort of turn. It was more of a. It was like a.
Yeah, I know. Pretty big.
It's like something was hitting us. But yeah.
There's an ILS landing. That kind of procedure follows in pretty much every plane you fly. You could do that procedure in a commercial jet.
Yeah, obviously the switches are in a different place there.
And of course you don't really need to fiddle around with course settings and stuff. But apart from that, it's exactly the same. So yeah. That was ILS landings, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.
Bye.